In this country, I wasn't aware, frankly, of acute hunger until 1968. I was then in the Senate, and CBS was carrying a documentary called Hunger USA. And I remember saying to Eleanor, I'm puzzled by that. There's no hunger in the United States. But we watched the documentary, and we saw those television cameras go into the slums of the great cities, into the migrant labor camps, into the Indian reservations in my state, into the school lunch rooms. One was in South Carolina. It was a room, take this little slice of this room down there, and there were probably 150 to 200 children in there at lunchtime. About half of them were sitting down at crude tables and eating. The other half were standing around the room. And the camera zoomed in on this little boy, maybe 8, 9, 10 years of age, and asked him, "What do you think when you stand here and watch these other children eat and you have nothing to eat?" I thought he would say he was angry. He stubbed his toe into that carpet. I can see it yet. He said, "I'm ashamed." And the reporter said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because I haven't got any money." I remember vividly, this is 40 years ago, saying to my daughters, it's not that little boy that should be ashamed. It's George McGovern, a United States Senator, a member of the Agricultural Committee, and I didn't even know that under the federal school lunch program at that time, if you didn't have the money to pay for it, you didn't eat. Under somebody's notion of discipline, you had to go to the school lunch program anyway. I went to the Senate floor the next day and introduced a simple resolution to create a new committee in the Congress, the Select Committee on Nutrition and Human Needs. I became the chairman of that committee. Bob Dole, the ranking Republican. I used to think Bob Dole was the meanest partisan in the Senate, and to a certain extent he was when he first came over to the Senate from the House. And but what I discovered with a little patience is that he had a warm heart for veterans. He'd been terribly wounded in the war. He didn't think we could do enough for the veterans, but he also had a warm heart for little kids, poor people. And I have to tell you, one of the wonders of my life is to see that man mellow and develop into a genuine humanitarian. We doubled the size of the school lunch program. We provided free or reduced price lunches for poor kids. We doubled the food stamp program. We started a new program called WIC for needy nursing and pregnant women and their infants through the age of 5. In other words, we literally engineered almost a revolution in food assistance in this country. Sarge watched that program closely. He talked to me about it several times. We used to share ideas on the Peace Corps and on Food for Peace, and we became, I wouldn't say intimate friends, but we became working colleagues on these things. So I come here tonight first to thank you for this award. I've got a much longer speech, but Bob Dole isn't the only humanitarian, so I'm going to give you a break, and you can read about this later on. But I just want to say that I'm very proud of this organization here in Chicago. I know that it was close to Sarge's heart. He conceived of a network of law firms tied together and clearing their ideas and their work at a central clearinghouse like this, which we call the Shriver Center today. He believed that poor people should have access to the law, that they should have access to the political process, that they should have access to policy debates, and that is what he worked for. Let me just say this to you in conclusion. If Sarge and I had been elected in 1972, I'm absolutely convinced that America would be a happier and more secure and more admired nation today than we are. There's a there's never been a day in my adult life that if I thought this country was in real danger, that I wouldn't have given my life to strike. Excuse me. I have trouble these days sometimes with tearing up a bit. I'm so discouraged about what goes on in this great country of ours, and how much better we would all be if we were just faithful to the ideals that gave us strength at the beginning. That's what I meant in 1972 when I called America home. Come home, America, America, to the founding ideals that gave us strength at the beginning. That's not a cry for isolationism. I've been an internationalist all of my life, and I intend to go on being an internationalist, but I also intend to go on opposing these unnecessary wars. People sometimes say to me, well, don't you support our troops? And I say, you damn right. I support our troops, and that's why I want to get them out of places like Iraq and Vietnam. So let's continue to work for justice here at home, as Sarge Shriver would have us do. Let us continue to reduce the poverty and misery in our countries, and above all, let us always stand for peace and justice in our own country and around the world. Thank you.